Welcome to your REIndicator demo. We've put together this short video to show you some of the indispensable features of this system. You'll see just how quickly you can find valuable and vital data about markets and neighborhoods, so you can make informed decisions about your multifamily investments. We've put a lot into making the system extremely easy to use, so you can use it right away. You do not need to install anything. It's a secure website. You just enter your username and password, and bingo, you are signed in to your private account, as you can see here in the upper right corner. Let's first talk about markets. There are over 385 in our system, and we're just about to expand to 437. Essentially, if a property is not in one of these markets, we would not recommend you purchase it if your plan is to build equity and sell it when you want to sell it. There just are not enough buyers out in these more remote locations. Stick with the markets in the system instead. We keep track of markets in two ways. One is emerging markets, the other is by market cycle. Emerging markets are the markets that have shown strong growth in the last 2 years or more. We can look at the current emerging markets by going up here in the upper left to open this drop-down menu and click on Emerging Markets. As you can see, we now get a national map showing all of the markets. The brighter or lighter green areas are what we call new emerging markets. They've just joined the list, having just recorded a second year in a row of the required level of growth. The darker greens are the markets that have had 3 or more years of emerging market status. They're showing enduring strength. We've tapped into reliable, proven data to produce this map. Note that this shows us how things stood at the end of 2019. There are a number of smaller markets that are newly emerging. This is very typical of a late-stage national up cycle, where even the smaller, or what are called tertiary, markets show healthy growth. We refresh this data every quarter so you can keep up with the latest trends. Let's take a closer look. On the right side of the screen, we click on the My Locations opener and the panel sweeps open. In the upper left, we can type in the name of a market. Let's put in Phoenix. Notice that as we type, it finds a match, so it makes it easy for us. We click on Phoenix, and bingo, there we are on the map, as quick as the snap of a finger. We can see already the map is shaded green. The legend in the lower left shows us that this is the darker green area that is a continuing emerging market with 3 or more years of strong growth. In the upper left, we can click the minus button and zoom out. After clicking zoom out 1, 2, 3, look how big the Phoenix market is, 4 times, we start to see a different shade of green, the lighter one. Look here at the market to the north. It's the new emerging stage, having just reached the 2 years in a row threshold to get to the emerging status. What is this market? How can we find out? We can simply click anywhere on that lighter green market, and we find out that it is the Prescott market. We can even see some critical details about the market, such as the population, market size rank, and size category. This being a tertiary market, like we mentioned earlier. When you click on the American flag icon in the upper left corner, the map automatically resets so you can see the whole country at once. Notice how many markets there are. There are many irregular spaces across much of the country. These are the markets. The gray areas are the markets not in an emerging status at this time. The gray areas are markets not in an emerging status at the time of this map. Notice how many markets are gray. That's because we were towards the end of our national economic boom of over 10 years, and most markets that had experienced an emerging phase were catching their breath, so to speak, and not growing quite as rapidly. It does not mean that they have negative growth. While there is lots more we could say about this emerging market map, we also want to show you that we have another kind of market map. By clicking in the drop-down menu in the upper left again and choosing Market Cycle, we change the map to show each of the hundreds of markets categorized by an estimated market cycle. The legend in the lower left shows us that some markets are red because they are classified as a buyer's market phase 1. You may recall from the video you saw about emerging markets how important a buyer's market phase 1 market can be. Other markets have different colors for different market cycles. This map is from the very end stage of the 10-year economic boom, and many markets had reached a point where their growth was much more modest, while a few markets were still showing robust strength. Since you are not watching this demonstration in late 2019 or early 2020, you should not use this information on these maps. It is outdated already, especially since we have the national recession that recorded job losses in April of 2020 in every one of the 437 markets we now track. This effectively reset the economy. Let's go back to Phoenix. When we now use the drop-down menu and choose micro neighborhoods, we see a much more detailed picture of the metropolitan area. This time, however, we are looking at a different data type. This looks at neighborhood scores or classifications on a scale from A through D. When we zoom out, you can see just how large and intricate this metropolitan area is. The A areas are shaded orange, the B areas are shaded yellow, the C areas are shaded green, and the D areas are shaded blue. The purpose of these neighborhood classifications is to give you a sense of how neighborhoods compare to each other inside a metropolitan area. The data is only looking at multifamily properties with 5 or more units. These classifications are highly tuned specifically to help the multifamily purchase process. In fact, they do not reflect anything about the single-family homes or the retail establishments whatsoever. It looks at all of the multifamily properties in one micro-neighborhood as a group, and then places it on a scale from the newest and most reinvested areas to the oldest and least reinvested areas. Let's take an example of how you would use this to figure out the neighborhood classification of a property you are considering purchasing. We're going over to the My Locations panel again to put in the address of the property. This one is 23555 North Desert Peak Parkway in Phoenix, Arizona. So as we type that, we can watch to see the address appear in the list of potential addresses. We click on the address, and it's so quick, in the snap of a finger, the map zooms to that location. Let's get a little closer and see what's going on in the area. It is classified as an A neighborhood, being in an orange area. It has some B neighborhood areas to the south and west. It also has a bit of C to the south, as well as some D to the southwest. We notice right away that the area that is blue or D is near an airport. It is very common for areas like this to have more industrial land use, and the multifamilies in these areas tend to be older. They have not attracted lots of reinvestment. Now in the upper left, we can choose the street's menu and turn on the satellite view. You will notice right away how much information you get from this additional data. You can see the land use types. You can see the small tiny boxes are mostly for single family homes. You can also see, as we look in the blue area that's shaded D, the rooftops tend to be larger for more industrial land use, and you can also see there are areas that have somewhat larger roofs that are either retail or multifamily. You can continue to zoom in to get even more detail. We can see clearly the individual buildings for this multifamily community, and we can see it's in an area with lots of single-family homes across the boulevard. Now we could spend lots of time wandering on this map, but that's not at all the purpose of this system. With just a few clicks, we found out that this property is in an A neighborhood and has mostly solid A, B, and C neighborhoods all around it. And that's what we needed to know. It helps us decide whether this property fits our acquisition criteria or not. With this information, we can decide to keep researching or move on to the next property. This could save you lots of time and will save you lots of money. You no longer have to spin your wheels and spend money driving or flying and wandering all over trying to figure out what's going on around a property. Within just a couple of seconds, you get the information you need. This information is also useful when you're ready to share it with other people who are working with you on your team. That's why we have included the ability to print, as you can see up here with the print icon. So, in just a few short minutes, you have seen a lot of capability in our system. There is even more. For example, we do have training and support capabilities built in. You can even watch previous webinars that we've recorded and begin joining us for live webinars that we do often to discuss new capabilities and trends in the markets. It's as easy as that. Once you join, you will have a ton of information at your fingertips, and we will keep bringing you more data, updates, and more capabilities. It is fast. It is so easy to use. It provides a depth of consistent data, much of which cannot be found anywhere else. It is continuously updated and expanded. It comes with a great and ever-expanding library of informational videos. And if you need it, we have telephone and email support. We love to hear from our members. REIndicator. It saves you time, it saves you money, it helps you make money faster. There are a few moments in our lifetime when the window of opportunity opens for us. We are now at one of those windows. This is your time to grab this moment to build the business that can replace your paycheck, enhance your retirement, and build a family legacy. So join us today.